Hey everybody. Today we're going to be looking at this Masters of the Universe New Eternia Sy-Klone figure. Interesting story, my history with this particular figure. So I was doing a toy hunt a few weeks ago and just wasn't finding anything that I wanted. And went to several Targets and I kept seeing this guy, and I'm not a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I watched the cartoon as a kid. I had a few of the figures. I don't even know if I had He-Man himself. I think I know I had Buzz Off, and I had this guy, and the reason I thought it was cool when it was announced that they were making a modern version of this figure, because I really liked this figure when I was a kid, and up until recently, I actually thought in my memory, it just kind of goes to show that our memory is sometimes wrong. For years, I thought that this was the last figure that I ever bought as a kid. And after driving around and going in Targets, not finding anything that I wanted, I just decided, you know what? I've spent all this time, I am going to buy something. And so I decided to buy this guy. And don't know anything about this line. Like I said, I haven't watched any of the new cartoons. I have a vague idea of the storyline to this. I just thought that this figure looked cool. And like I said, I was kind of keeping myself from getting into a lot of different lines, but I just decided, you know what, I've got a little bit of a history with this figure, this character. I really like the artwork, the packaging, just the presentation of it all. And the original, I don't still have it, but you could spin him around. It had a little dial in the back, and his arms would fly up and you could spin him around. So he had this he was kind of like Red Tornado, if you're familiar with that character from DC. So I just decided, and it was cheaper at Target than it was on Amazon. I looked it up on Amazon. It was like $30. It was like under 22 in the store. So I decided, you know what? I've been driving around. I'm gonna buy something, and this is what I decided to buy. So yeah, and it also kind of got me thinking about what was your last figure when you were growing up? What was the last figure? Do you remember what your last figure was? Turns out I was wrong. This was not the last figure that I ever bought, but it was the last Masters of the Universe figure. I do know that because this figure came out, I think in '85, and I think that was near the end of the Masters of the Universe, the original line. So this is one of the later figures. And I kid you not, for years I thought this was the last figure I ever bought. It was probably Hydro Viper from the original O-Ring G.I. Joe, maybe Storm Shadow version 2, but it just kind of got me thinking, what was your last figure? And if you'd like to talk about that, let me know in the comments section. That'd be very interested to hear. So even though I bought this figure, I had to do some research to confirm that this wasn't actually the last figure that I bought as a kid. And so Action Figure 411 is a really great resource for that. So if you don't know about it, head on over there, check it out. Lots of different lines, past, present, and kind of let you know when things were released and how much they cost and how much they're going for on the aftermarket now. So anyway, that's enough about my history with this figure, and I'm looking forward to opening him up and seeing what he can do, what he's all about. So I'll be back in a second. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to show off the packaging first. I don't think other reviewers do that. I don't necessarily think it's necessary, but you know what? This thing has got some really good artwork, so I think it's really worth showing off. So whoever is painting these pictures is doing really well, doing a fantastic job. So Sy-Klone, heroic fist-flinging tornado. The gale force winds of New Eternia blast across the decimated planet with the storm's herald, Sy-Klone, at its helm. So anyway, pretty cool pictures, artwork. So if you guys know who this artist is, he is knocking it out of the park. That's another thing. The shelf presence for these figures is definitely there. So, okay. So just wanted to show that off before I got him out of the package. Oh, one last thing. 30 points of articulation. Are you listening, McFarlane? Hey, Todd, you're missing 8 more points. You can do better. So, rant over. Okay, so got the figure out of the package, and comes in this big old tray, big old box. I just wanted to show this off. I thought this was kind of cool. They actually have the designs here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of packagers, toy lines and that sort. Shows you what's in there. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of cool, the fact that they went to all that trouble to give you instructions. And let's see, can you see that? Okay. And I show you where the shield goes and the effects and everything. You can attach the effects to the shield. And so, I don't know, something about that tickled me. I liked it. So I thought I'd show that off. So here's a boy here. Very stoic face. Kind of, yeah, if it was all monochrome white and blue, I'd say this was a Tron figure. Or a character from Tron. So there's our shield. And let's see if I can get him to just stand there. And then the rest of the... Now this came in the package, in the tray, and then you have your... I guess wind effects, maybe? The original figure didn't have that. It has a mask or a visor. And we'll get that on him in a second. Oh, and actually, okay, so he has extra hands. Fists of fury. Alrighty, so... 7-inch scale, so this should track well with the McFarlane figures. And I gotta say, I like it. Let me get my camera situated here. Has good articulation, your standard stuff. Head's on a ball joint, dumbbell joint. Has pretty good range of motion for that. Looks down that far. Can look up that far. And there's a little gap right there, but not, I mean, it's not that noticeable when you have it displayed. It's not as bad as some. Scarlet Spider or that Electra Daredevil. Those ball joints were a little too long, I think, so that showed a very visible gap. His helmet covers it, his chin covers it, so it's not too bad. I mean, he's very colorful. That was probably another thing I liked about him when I was a kid. I don't recall it. The original didn't have a shield, as far as I can. Somebody correct me. As far as I recall, I know it didn't have these effects, and I don't think it had a shield. Of course, this one doesn't have the dial in the back where you can cause him to spin around or anything like that. But so no butterfly joint on these figures apparently. I don't know if that's, like I said, this is the only one I've ever purchased of this line, and just mainly for the nostalgia. But I think it looks cool. It's got this interesting. I guess it's supposed to be like a weather gauge or a wind gauge or something like that, since he has like cyclonic powers, controls the wind. Maybe it's like gives him some kind of direction. It doesn't move or anything like that, I don't think. So just kind of an effect there, just a static design. So arms go up that far. Very smooth joints. You got to be careful these blue pieces here. I don't know if those are supposed to be blades or just decorations or whatever. So that's about as far as it can go before. I mean, you can rotate it around and go up a little high. So you can get a T-pose, but you have to move the bicep. But it's soft plastic, so it's not going to scratch anything or break off. It's not brittle, but if you did too much of that, it might bend it. You could potentially damage it, so just be careful with that. Ab rocker, Is that what it's called? Ab rocker? Very smooth. I like it. He's got pretty good. So you can look down. I mean, well, I guess it could be better. So actually, I guess he goes back better than he goes forward. So maybe a little modification, probably because of the way it's designed back there. And this piece, no? So I've seen some people go in and mill out some plastic so you get better range of motion. So I don't know if I'll do that. I mean, I just like it's fluid and it's twists at the waist. Decent. I gotta say, I really like the face sculpt. Just, I don't know, very stoic looking, very otherworldly. Maybe it's because of the color. I don't know. He's got some crazy eyes. Not crazy eyes, but they look good. They're very good. Very serious looking fellow of his big yellow helmet. So we have double jointed pinless. So this line has pinless joints. So double jointed pinless elbows and knees. And he's got these big old hunking biceps, so that's as far as it's gonna go. I guess you could go that far and that far, even with the double jointed. So, and it's got rotates at the wrist and go up and down. So there's a disc hinge right there. The skirt piece, this is soft plastic, so you should be able to, this isn't going to hinder anything. So he can get, it actually does, it took me a while to realize that he has drop down hips. One leg was longer than the other and was very stiff, so in there. So, but yeah, you can get a very good split. And thigh cut. And very stiff joints, so he can almost kick his own rear end. Ankle rocker and pivot on both sides. Oh, boot cut right there. Okay, having some hard problems with the right leg, not wanting to go up. Left leg goes up that far. Well, don't want to force this because I'd hate to snap that off. So, yeah, I'm gonna wait, heat that guy up. Let's see if I can get a better range of motion out of that. Okay. What do I like? I mean, like I said, I think the design is very well. Paint looks pretty good all the way around. Feels solid. Drive me crazy, that right leg there. Because I want to kind of put him in a running pose or action pose of some kind. But I'd say the one, I mean, it's not really, for some reason it doesn't bother me. It bothers me on other figures, but I don't know. Because anytime you have this metallic, you're going with a metallic style looking plastic, you can see the pore lines, and it bugs me on a lot of figures, like Iron Man figures, particular Iron Man figures. That second Ultron figure, it was just silver plastic, and you can see the marbleization where it poured into the mold, and it doesn't have, you don't feel any seams or anything. It feels smooth. That's something that I'm always kind of concerned about, is that you can like get a fingernail in there and that it's not fully formed, but it doesn't feel that way. And so that's the only kind of gripe. Now, maybe I don't understand the toy making process as well as others might. Maybe you can explain it to me if I don't know, if I'm just talking out my rear end here. But it's got a lot of that marbleization, and you can see those pore lines. But it could have gold paint covered that, like the first Ultron. Yeah, but I can see that instead of $21, this being a $30 figure if they did that, or something like that. But for the most part, it doesn't really bother me a whole lot for some reason. I guess you could maybe call it battle damage, or I don't know. But for the most part, I like it. So the shield ports in there, rotates around, so it's not locked into place in one position or anything like that. You can hold it. There we go. Like a flaming lightning effect, something like that. Well, that looks pretty cool. No stands, so of course he's got big old boy feet, so he doesn't have a problem standing up. So yeah. Oh, and don't forget his visor. So how does that work? And like, I don't know if I mentioned it, but the helmet doesn't come off. So okay, just kind of slides up in there. It looks like it has a little detent to help it lock in place, but I think the tension of the helmet, the way it's just formed to the head, holds it in place just by itself. So you can display it like that. Although the original didn't have a mask, so I'm going to keep him probably like this. And so you can do the shield like with the effects there, or you can port them in onto his wrists. So, or maybe you can put the shield on the shield. Yep. So several different display options. He can hold the shield or port the shield. You can go shieldless. Okay. Well, it wasn't too bad. Okay. Well, suppose you could rotate it around like that. But I think it kind of promotes, gives the illusion of speed. You know, I keep thinking of the Flash and high winds here, so maybe it's like static electricity he's generating as he spins. So there. So that's Mr. Sy-Klone. And I gotta say, for the nostalgia factor, I really like it. I don't think I'm gonna get any more of these. Like I said, I was more of a classified collector, but I like to sample different lines and see what they're like. And like I said, if anything, it kind of proves 7-inch scale. And again, I'm going to keep ragging on McFarlane. This scale, they can do it. They can do pinless. They can do all the articulation that we see. So there really isn't any excuse. So, and which is why I don't have a lot of McFarlane figures. So here I am sampling one figure and griping about another, or one line, sampling one line and griping about another. So try not to do that too much, but I do have some McFarlane figures I will be reviewing here shortly, so be on the lookout for that. Like I said, I don't hate them, but I think they could be better. So, but I am very selective about which ones that I get. But like I said, I wanted to grab this guy. Are you into this Masters of the Universe line? If so, what's your history with it? What do you like about it? Who's your favorite figure? Here I am saying this might be the only one. I do have my eye on the Triclops figure, which, I don't know, for some reason he just looks cool and he stands out. So some posing issues. No real issues with posing this figure. Options is that's the word I'm looking for. So good posing options. I'm not as good as some other guys. D Amazing. He should probably change the name of his channel to Posing Amazing or something like that. So anyway, what do you think? Did you get it? You gonna get him? If not, why? He's awesome. No, we like what we like. But if you're into this line, drop me a line in the comments. What do you like about it? What's your history? And what'd you think? Do you have this one? Did you have any trouble with it? Are you collecting all the new Eternia figures? So, okay, well, that's it for this review. I will talk to you guys later. Take care.